First of all, export is it's more than just putting something in a box and shipping it. Of course, actual shipments, the transfers of tangible items are considered exports. But beyond that, intangible transactions, that is, the transmission of electronic information by email or through access to an FTP site or to a server, that could be an export. The release or disclosure of software source code to a foreign person, whether it's by email, whether it's by fax, whether it's in a telephone conversation or in an in-person meeting. And this is a concept I think that's particularly troublesome for a lot of people, is visual inspection. That there can be an export through a visual inspection of equipment. And if that equipment is on, it's demonstrating something, it's providing some insight into the way it operates or it's designed, that visual inspection by a foreign person could be an export to the home country of that individual. And that gets to the next concept, which is deemed exports, and a concept that I think many of you are probably familiar with. And it's this idea that the release of technology to a foreign person in the United States is deemed under these laws to be an export to that person's home country or countries. So that, I think, is a significant issue for universities that have foreign persons that come to the university. In addition, what is a foreign person? What is a U.S. person versus a foreign person? Under these laws, they use different language. The definitions are slightly different. But fundamentally, a U.S. person is someone who's a U.S. citizen, who's a legal permanent resident here in the United States, that is a green card holder, or is a refugee or asylee that is admitted for permanent residence in the United States on that basis. It can also be a corporation or a company or a branch that's organized or incorporated to do business in the United States. Regardless of where that company may be operating, it is considered a U.S. person. A foreign person would be anyone who is not a U.S. person. And of course, you get into these issues about, well, what if they're from two different countries? What if what if they were born in China and now live in Canada and maintain citizenship in both places? Because the different agencies involved take different approaches to how you would treat that dual national. The final concept I want to address is this idea of an export license. An export license, and the different agencies might call it different things. They might call it a specific license versus an export license, or an authorization versus a license. But the idea is that it's written permission by the government to permit you to do something that's otherwise prohibited under these rules. And that's important because while something may be restricted or prohibited, for instance, an export to a certain country may be restricted, you may be able to get an export license to permit you to do that. So all is not lost because there is a restriction. The system allows for export licensing in certain cases.